From the Pickerington Community Theater Studios in Pickerington, Ohio, it's...
PCT Radio!
Good day, and welcome to another episode of the Inspector Quoissant series.
For something mighty fine that'll pass the time, join Inspector Quoissant as he solves the crime.
Brought to you commercial-free by PCTshows.com. Yes, that's PCTshows.com. In this episode, our beloved American inspector has recently concluded his investigation of the Eiffel Jewels. He has been resting in the French countryside and is now traveling by train back to Paris. It is the end of summer on the Royal Luxury Express passenger train. In this episode, you will meet Mrs. Peignoir, an elderly Frenchwoman and fellow train passenger, Phillipe DeBois, train conductor and good friend of the inspector's, Albert Martin, train porter, as well as fellow passengers Rose Hudson, Daisy Hudson, Richard Waters, Erich Schmidt, and Andrea Muller. We now bring you the disappearance of Mrs. Peignoir.
Good evening, sir. Welcome aboard the Royal Express. Why, my goodness, look who it is. My beloved friend, Inspector Quoissant. It is so good to see you, mon ami.
Hello, Phillipe. It's good to see you. You're looking well, and what a lovely summer we're having. But how's your family?
Oh, they are good. Emily is preparing for her baccalaureate. And David, he's about ready to start at university.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe how they've grown up so fast.
Oh, oui, I can hardly believe it myself. Well, my friend, let's get you off of this hot platform and show you to your cabin. Albert! Albert!
Yes, sir.
Albert, this is the distinguished Inspector Quoissant. He happens to be a good friend of mine, so please take good care of him, Albert. Inspector, may I introduce your porter for your journey, Albert Martin.
Good to meet you.
If you would be so good as to follow me, sir, I will show you to your cabin.
Take care, Inspector, and enjoy your journey.
Thank you, Phillipe.
Here you are, sir. You are in cabin number 2. Make yourself comfortable and I will see that your luggage is delivered straight away. Today's newspaper is on your bed. The dining car opens in 1 hour. Enjoy your journey, sir.
Thank you, Albert. Albert. Let's see what's in today's paper. Record-breaking heat. Tourism on the increase since the end of the war. Oh, this is interesting. French and American soldiers still missing. Although it's been several years since the end of the Second World War, many soldiers are still believed to be in captivity in underground German hideouts, scattered throughout the French countryside. Efforts being made by wartime French resistance group to rescue these missing men. What a shame.
I think I'll lay down and rest before dinner.
As Inspector Quoissant settled in for a nap, the train was bustling. Chefs were preparing for dinner in the dining car. Passengers were getting settled in their cabins, and porters were busily preparing for their first night of the journey to Paris. The inspector exited his cabin to make his way to the dining car, encountering some of his fellow travelers on sleeping car number 3.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Jolly hot weather we're having, eh?
Yes, a very hot summer.
Yes, very different than our English summers. I can't quite get used to this heat. Been vacationing in the countryside with my wife and daughter.
I have been as well.
France has some beautiful land.
But now back to the hustle and bustle of Paris.
Well, enjoy your evening, Mr.
Waters, Richard Waters, and this is my daughter Daisy.
Hello, nice to meet you.
My name's Quoissant. Good to meet you. Enjoy your evening.
Good night, Mr. Quoissant.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name's Quoissant.
Yes, Inspector Quoissant. Monsieur DuBois informed us of your arrival. I have your table already. Right this way, please. Here you are, sir. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you. Good evening, madam. My name's Quoissant. Whom do I have the honor of dining with this evening?
Bonsoir. My name is Mrs. Peignoir. Please sit down, Mr. Quoissant.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Peignoir. Pleased to make your acquaintance. It is a pleasant evening we're having, isn't it?
Oui, oui. Despite the heat, it is a beautiful evening and such a pleasant, comfortable train we are on.
Agreed. May I say, ma'am, that's a lovely shawl you're wearing.
Why, merci. It belonged to my grandmother, who gave it to me when I was a young woman. She lived not far from here, in Aveyron.
I've been on a short vacation in Aveyron. Now I'm traveling back home to Paris.
Good evening, madame. Sir, I have your dinners for you and a lovely bottle of Beaujolais Nouveau. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Aveyron is so beautiful this time of year. And what do you do in Paris, Mr. Quoissant?
Well, I'm a police inspector. Moved here from America right after the war. And where do you hail from, Mrs. Peignoir?
Ooh, a police inspector. How very interesting. I am from a small village not too far from Toulouse called Côte-de-Sociel. I have such warm feelings for my hometown.
Oh, yes. One's hometown often brings good memory.
Oui. Oh, what a peaceful, tranquil village. I remember warm summers, playing with my friends on the hillside, and cold winters, enjoying the snow as it blanketed the town. As an adult, I came to appreciate my home, and my country for that matter, even more. I felt such pride as people from afar would come to visit our quaint village and fall in love with the countryside. Then came the war. We saw little effect from World War I in our little village, but the Second World War and the German invasion was another story. Oh, Inspector, life became very different after that.
Please, go on, Mrs. Peignoir.
I'll never forget the summer when Germany first invaded France. It wasn't too long before we saw German forces near our little village. It seemed like fortifications were arising all around us. Every night we were glued to our radios, listening to the developments of the war. Invasions, prisoners of war, devastation. Such awful scenes, Inspector. So many French and American soldiers captured and held prisoner, some in their very own country.
I was just reading an article in the paper about soldiers that may be being held in secret.
Oui, it is so sad. So many lives devastated. During the war, I helped out where I could, taking care of wounded soldiers, transporting food and water. But let's not speak of such sad times anymore. The war is over. Life is returning to normal. Just look at the people around us. The nice young couples smiling and laughing together. Those gentlemen in the corner looking restful and content. Yes, it's nice to see people smiling once again.
Hear, hear. And may I raise a glass and propose a toast to you, Mrs. Peignoir, for your love of country and your fellow Frenchmen.
I will drink to that. Now, Inspector, if you will excuse me, I am growing tired. I will retire to my cabin for the night and look forward to a pleasant night's sleep. I have enjoyed talking with you.
Mrs. Peignoir, the pleasure has been all mine. I look forward to dining with you at breakfast. Good night.
Bonne nuit, Inspector. I will enjoy seeing you in the morning.
Did you enjoy your meal, Inspector Quoissant? Would you like another glass of wine?
It was quite delicious, thank you, but no, I think I will retire to my cabin.
Very well. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you. Good night. Hello, Mr. Waters. Miss Daisy, enjoying your dinner?
Ah, Mr. Quoissant, would you like to sit down? Normally my wife would be with us, but she had a headache and stayed in our cabin.
Well, I'm on the way to my cabin. I just thought I would stop and say good evening. I'm sorry to hear about your wife. I look forward to meeting her. At least you have the company of your charming daughter.
Thank you, sir. It's always nice to get to spend time with Father.
Yes, yes. Well, enjoy your evening, Mr. Quoissant.
You as well.
And with that, the inspector returned to his cabin. Having retired to bed, the sound of the train lulled him to sleep. Several hours later, early into the morning, the sound from the passing of another train woke the inspector. Before he could go back to sleep, he heard voices just outside the cabin door.
I'm nervous. I don't know if this is going to work. I swear they're watching us at dinner.
Relax. It's all going to be fine, I promise. No one knows. Once this is all behind us, life will be much, much better.
I hope you're right. It's been so many long, horrible years. I just need this to go right.
It will.
Auntie,
It will.
is everything all right?
My goodness, what are you doing out of bed? Now, both of you, we need to get some sleep, okay?
I'll try. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
The inspector pondered for a moment what he had just heard, and then drifted back to sleep. The next morning, Inspector Quoissant made his way to the dining car for breakfast, looking forward to the company of the nice elderly woman he had dined with the night before.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Quoissant's the name.
Ah, right this way, sir. May I start you off with some coffee or tea?
I'll have coffee. Black, thank you. Mrs. Peignoir has not arrived at breakfast yet?
Mrs. Peignoir? I'm sorry, sir. I do not know a Mrs. Peignoir. I have this table reserved just for you. I will get your coffee, sir.
Strange. Okay, thank you. Oh, good morning, Mr. Waters. And I presume Mrs. Waters?
Ah, Mr. Quoissant, jolly good morning we're having, eh?
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Quoissant.
Would you like to join us for breakfast?
Actually, I was hoping to dine with my new friend, Mrs. Peignoir. We met at dinner last night.
Oh, well, jolly good then. Enjoy your breakfast.
Richard, you must be more careful how you speak.
Here is your coffee, sir.
Thank you. Excuse me, but you said that only I had a reservation for this table. I expected to see Mrs. Peignoir this morning. Could you tell me if she has a reservation at a different table?
I do not have a Mrs. Peignoir on my list, sir.
Well, that's very strange. We spoke about having breakfast together.
I am sorry, sir.
That's all right. Thank you.
Inspector Quoissant. Good morning, old friend.
Why, Phillipe, good morning. Could you join me for a few minutes?
Of course, mon ami. How are you enjoying your journey so far? Is Albert taking good care of you?
Yes, my journey's been fine, but I'm a little bothered by something, though. Last night, I had the pleasure of dining with an elderly woman named Mrs. Peignoir. We had spoken about having breakfast together, but she hasn't arrived, and the attendant stated that he doesn't even have her on his list for a reservation. I'm a little concerned.
Oh, I am sorry, my friend.
I think she may be staying in the same sleeping car as me. Would you mind asking Albert to check on her?
Oh, certainly. I will talk to Albert now.
As the inspector sipped his coffee, there were other conversations happening in the dining car.
Calm down, Richard. Just try to look casual, enjoy your breakfast. Read the newspaper or something. For goodness sake, cut back on the jolly old chap phrases. That will sound suspicious.
Sorry, I just need this all to be over. And look, that couple is back. Maybe we should leave.
No, if we leave before we are done with breakfast, that will draw more attention. We must stay here and have our breakfast in a normal fashion.
I agree, Father. It looks natural when we are together as a family.
Fellow over there, the inspector. Can we trust him? Could he help us if we needed him to?
He seems very nice.
I believe he would help us. However, I only want to go to him as a last resort. The fewer people involved, the better.
Okay.
Careful how you are watching them, Andrea. We do not want to draw attention to ourselves. If he gets nervous, we'll never get him back.
Yes, you are correct. Hand me that newspaper. What are we to do when we get to Paris?
For now, we are just to watch him and follow. We will receive further instructions once we are in the city.
Very well.
And beware of the man sitting in the corner. He is an American detective.
Inspector, I spoke to Albert. He does not know the woman to whom you are referring. I checked the passenger list for sleeping car 3 and checked the list for dining car reservations from last night. I do not see a Mrs. Peignoir.
What? That's impossible. How do you not have a record of someone I just ate dinner with last night? At this very table. Where's the dining car attendant from last night? He should remember her. This is all very strange.
The young man who sent you today was the same man who worked in the dining car last night.
No, that was not the man that waited on us last night.
No, that cannot be. No one else was scheduled to work in this car.
So you're saying we're missing a passenger and a dining car attendant?
We shall talk to Andre. Andre, come here for a moment.
Yes, monsieur?
Andre, you were assigned to work this dining car last night. The inspector tells me you were not here. Is this true?
Monsieur, when I got to the dining car last night, another employee told me you had assigned him to this car and I could have the night off. He was wearing one of our uniforms.
What? I have never told any such thing. Who was the other man?
Yeah, I do not know, sir. I've never seen him before. I thought he was somebody new you had employed.
Inspector, could you tell me what this man looked like?
Well, he was about my height, dark hair, and a mustache. I remember the mustache because it curled up at each end. Most noticeable.
Oh, I remember that as well. I thought it almost looked like a disguise.
I can tell you, Inspector, I have no one on staff who has a mustache with that description.
Interesting. Very interesting. Phillipe, I think I will talk to some of the passengers that were dining in the car last night.
Go ahead, my friend. I will support you doing a full investigation of our missing friend and our mysterious attendant.
Thank you, Phillipe. Mr. Waters, I was wondering if I might ask you a few questions. Mind if I join you for a moment?
Why, certainly, Mr. Quoissant. Please, sit down.
Thank you. I'm an inspector from Paris, traveling back to the city. Mr. Waters, you and your daughter were sitting fairly close to my table last night at dinner. Do you remember the woman I was dining with?
Woman you dined with? Let me see now. I do remember you had a dinner companion. I think it may have been an older woman, but I did not really notice anything specific about her. Daisy, did you notice anyone?
Not really. Just that you were sitting with an older woman.
Mr. Water, do you remember if you saw her in our sleeping car?
Why, no, I can't say that I saw her.
Okay. Well, thank you both. Wait, did you happen to hear anything unusual in the middle of the night? Any talking from the hallway?
Oh, Richard!
Oh my, how clumsy of me dropping my tea. Sorry, my dear.
Richard, Daisy, and I were fast asleep in our cabin all night, and we did not hear a thing.
I see.
Now, Inspector, if you will excuse us, I feel another headache coming on. Richard, dear, would you mind very much taking us back to our cabin?
Why, of course, my dear. Good morning, Inspector.
Good day.
Inspector, I could not help overhearing your conversation. That young man seemed quite worried about something.
Phillipe, sit down. Yes, you are correct. Something made him nervous. Especially when asked about hearing someone talking in the middle of the night last night.
Ah, yes. I was curious about what you heard.
Well, it was very early in the morning. The sound of a passing train woke me. And then I heard hushed voices just outside my cabin door. The man's was American, the woman's British. You know, that woman's voice, I wonder. Anyway, the man was saying he was nervous and needed this to be over and something about being watched. The woman was trying to calm him down and said this would all be behind them. Phillipe, can you get me a list of the passengers in sleeping car 3? And another question. The gentleman and the woman sitting together with the newspapers, are you familiar with them? They were in the dining car last night as well.
Yes, my friend. They are German. Tourists, they said, visiting France. Their passports seem to be in order. I believe they are staying in your sleeping car.
I see. I think I'll talk to them too.
Very well. I will retrieve the passenger list for sleeping car 3.
Thank you, Phillipe. Good morning, sir. Madam. My name is Quoissant. Could I trouble you for a moment?
Good morning. Would you like to sit down?
Yes, thank you.
My name is Erich. This is my sister Andrea.
How do you do?
How do you do? Well, I noticed you dining in this car last night for dinner. I wondered, did you happen to notice the woman I was dining with? She commented on your demeanor and thought perhaps you had met before I joined her for dinner.
I'm sorry, sir. We were engaged in conversation of our own and did not notice.
Oh, I see. So you didn't even see her as she passed when she left the dining car after dinner?
No, we did not. Now, if you will excuse us, we will retire to our cabin.
Good day, then.
Good day.
Good day.
Mon ami, I have the passenger list for you.
Oh, thank you, Phillipe. Please, sit down.
The list is as follows. You, of course, are in cabin number 2. Mr. and Mrs. Waters and daughter in cabin 3. Erich Schmidt in cabin 4, and Andre Muller in cabin 5.
Ah, yes. The brother and sister. Funny they look nothing alike.
Haha, my friend. You know how people are these days. That may mean nothing.
Maybe. Anyway, you didn't say who was staying in cabin 1.
Why, no one isn't staying in cabin 1 or cabin 6.
What? That can't be true. I heard someone in cabin 1. I heard them last night and again this morning before I left for breakfast.
Oh, impossible! If there were someone in that cabin, I would certainly know about it.
I'm telling you, Phillipe, someone has been using cabin 1. This whole affair is getting more mysterious by the hour. I would like to see if anyone is there now and try to look around if I can.
Oh, I will come with you.
Very well. Here we are. Hello? Is anyone in there?
Inspector, Albert does not seem to be here either. He is supposed to be at his post to attend to the passengers' needs. Yet, he is gone.
Phillipe, do you have a key to this cabin door?
Albert has all the cabin keys. I will go search for him, or find another key.
Thank you. I'll wait in my cabin.
As the inspector sat in his cabin, the sound of a man and a woman could be heard outside in the corridor, and a door closing as they went inside one of the cabins. The inspector slipped quietly from his room and made his way to the door to listen in on their conversation.
We are going to have to act quickly once we arrive in Paris. The American is nervous and may try to make a fast getaway once the train has stopped at the station.
I agree. However, we must also act discreetly. We do not want to draw attention to ourselves. We must both follow them closely until there are less people.
Agreed. And we must continue to look like tourists. The American is too suspicious. If only we had recognized them before they boarded the train.
Yes, that was unfortunate. Do not worry, my friend. It will work out.
With that, the inspector slipped quietly back to his room. It was not long before Phillipe returned with a key to the mysterious cabin.
Inspector!
Were you able to get the key?
Oui, oui. I could not find Albert. However, I was able to get a key to cabin 1. Come along, my friend. Inspector! You were right. Someone is most definitely staying in this cabin. And judging by the clothes and the toiletries, it is most definitely a woman. How could Albert not know about this?
Maybe he does.
What? No, impossible.
Aha! Phillipe, look what I found in this drawer. A fake mustache. And it looks exactly like the one the dining car attendant at dinner last night was wearing. And look at this. This hat and shawl belongs to Mrs. Peignoir. I commented on the shawl at dinner.
Oh, mon ami! Mon Dieu! Your Mrs. Peignoir must be on the train. I cannot believe she has been in this cabin undetected.
And what about the mustache in this drawer? Phillipe, I need to think. Would you be so kind as to have my dinner brought to my room tonight? I need time to sort out these strange things that I have seen in her.
Of course, my friend. Whatever you need.
Thank you.
The inspector retired to his room for a rest and to ponder the events of the last 24 hours while the conductor went about his other duties. In a different part of the train, Albert, Rose, Richard, and Daisy were having a conversation of their own.
Do not fear. We are very close to having this all behind us. We will be in Paris by tomorrow morning.
Albert, thank you so much for all you have done. We could not have made it this far without you. And you have helped to look after Daisy. It is much appreciated.
Yes, Monsieur Albert. Thank you so much. It has meant a lot to me to come along on this journey and help your friend here.
Yes, Albert, you and Rose and Daisy have saved my life. I owe you far more than I could ever pay.
Oh, nonsense. We are simply doing what is right. You sacrificed yourself for our country, and we owe you a debt we can never repay. Without you and your band of brothers, this country would have fallen to disaster. This is the least we can do for you.
Well, I still appreciate it, my friends.
We are happy you're going to finally be free. Now, when we depart from the train in Paris, it is still important we keep up our charade of being a family on holiday. We don't know if the German couple on the train are part of the regime or just innocent travelers, but we can't afford to take any chances. We will have a car waiting at the Paris station and make our way quickly from the train to the car. And Daisy, if anything happens and we get separated, go straight to the car we have waiting and don't look back.
Yes, Auntie, I will.
Okay, sounds like an excellent plan.
I need to get back to my post before Monsieur DeBois notices I am gone.
We should head back to our cabins anyway. Thank you, Albert.
My pleasure.
With the conversation over, the group headed back to sleeping car number 3. What they did not realize was another person happened to be in the same car where they were talking. Shocked by the conversation he had just heard, he quickly went to find Inspector Quoissant.
Inspector!
Phillipe, come in. I've been trying to sort out all that has happened since I boarded this train. First, I met a very nice elderly woman named Mrs. Peignoir, my first night aboard, who went missing, and yet her hat and shawl are in a supposedly unoccupied cabin. I heard a strange conversation outside my door between an American man and a British woman. I meet Mr. Waters and Mrs. Waters and daughter, and there's something familiar about the wife. And Mr. Waters appears nervous. Then there's an unknown dining car attendant at dinner last night, and we find a mustache just like his in cabin 1. Then I meet a German brother and sister staying in this car who don't seem eager to talk to me, and I overheard a conversation they had a little while ago. I need to keep an eye on them. They're watching someone on this train and intend to follow them when they arrive in Paris. So many things going on.
Oh, Inspector! I have never had so much trouble on my train! I do not like this, my friend. I do not like this at all!
Don't worry. I believe all will come to light when we reach Paris. We will arrive tomorrow morning, right?
Me, tomorrow morning.
Phillipe, I need you to do me a favor. Use your radio and contact the police in Paris. I need my sergeant, Pepe Poupon, to meet me at the station and have police stationed around the platform. I think all will come to a close once this train arrives.
Yes, Inspector. I will call right away.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, Inspector, before I go, I need to tell you about a part of a conversation I overheard earlier today.
Phillipe and the inspector talked for a few more moments. Then Phillipe left to make his call to the police. The inspector settled in for the night. After dinner, reading the paper, our beloved inspector continued to mull over the events of the last 24 hours. As he listened to the repetitious sound of the train, he drifted off to sleep. The next morning, right on schedule, the train pulled into the bustling Paris station.
Inspector, we are pulling into the Paris station.
Were you able to get through to the police?
Me, everything is set.
Very good. Thank you, Phillipe.
The train came to a halt. Passengers were making their preparations to leave. Albert was attending to the people on sleeping car 3.
Richard, Rose, do you have all of your luggage ready? You need to exit, now.
Yes, we're all prepared.
You can exit the train. I will take care of your luggage. Now hurry.
Thank you, Albert. We owe you much gratitude.
Goodbye.
Monsieur Schmidt, I apologize. Your departure from the train will be delayed a few moments. our porters are having some trouble with your luggage.
Outrageous! That is unacceptable! Miss Muller and I are in a great hurry. We must depart now.
Erich, what seems to be the trouble?
This porter is telling me we cannot depart. He says there is trouble with our luggage.
I am very sorry.
Erich, look out the window. They are getting away.
Out of my way, porter. We must leave!
Rose, look! The German couple are running towards us.
Quickly, to the car. Daisy, stick close.
Stop! Stop!
Run!
Inspector, come quickly!
Unhand me! Unhand me, I say!
Daisy, run to the car!
Quiet! Everyone quiet!
Inspector, do not let the German couple get away. We believe they were on the train following Richard and possibly to detain him from his journey home.
You have no right to hold
I said quiet! Now, before we let anyone go anywhere, we're going to get to the bottom of all this. I want to start with you, Mr. Waters. When I first met you, you spoke as an Englishman. And now I come to find out from Phillipe that you're in fact American? Tell me what all this is about, sir.
You are correct, Inspector. I am American. In fact, I'm an American soldier. I fought in France during the war. I met Rose after I became injured in battle. She was a nurse in the army hospital who helped me recover. The night I left the hospital, I was captured by the Germans and taken prisoner. They hid us in the countryside. I thought there was no hope for me. So many long years. But then Rose turned up in my life again. She and her niece Daisy and Albert, who are part of the French resistance from the war, came to my rescue. Rose helped me escape from captivity and hid me in her home until we could board a train to come to Paris, where I could make my way back to America and finally be free.
I see, Mr. Waters. Do you have any proof of that?
Inspector, Albert still has our luggage. If you look in my travel bag, you'll find my dog tags.
Sergeant Poupon, please check Mr. Waters' travel bag.
Oui, right away, Inspector.
Now, Mrs. Waters.
Inspector, I also owe you an explanation. My true name is Rose Hudson. I am afraid I, too, deceived you in more ways than one. You see, I am also Mrs. Peignoir.
I see.
I apologize for my charade. When we rescued Richard from his prison, it was necessary to go into hiding with a disguise, as my face is known to many of the German under Bram. I disguised myself as Mrs. Peignoir and posed as Richard's mother while still in the countryside. I boarded the train as her so I would not be noticed. After our first night on board, Richard and I, and of course my niece Daisy, posed as a family on holiday. And as I assume you guessed, I was secretly occupying cabin number 1, thanks to help from Albert.
I also found a mustache in your cabin.
Ah, yes, the mustache. Albert wore that and posed as the dining car attendant for dinner the first night I met you. Albert had told us an inspector was in our sleeping car, and I wanted to meet you. I had to know if we could trust you if it became necessary to ask for your help. I am sorry, Inspector, to have misled you in so many ways.
All is forgiven, madam. Now, as for Mr. Schmidt and Miss Muller...
You had no right to hold us. We are tourists.
Quiet! I overheard a conversation you had with your supposed brother that sounded a little bit fishy to me. I know you were watching a couple of people on the train and planning to follow them when you got to Paris.
You had no right to listen to our conversation.
Inspector, we believe these two may be parts of the German underground and may have had a part in Richard's imprisonment. You cannot let them go.
Sergeant Poupon?
Oui, Inspector.
I believe further investigation of these two is warranted. Sergeant, take them in for questioning.
Come along now. Don't stop me.
Now, Mr. Waters and Miss Hudson, you're both free to go. Thank you both for all you have done for this country, and Mr. Waters, I wish you the very best in your new life.
Thank you, Inspector, for everything.
Come along, Richard. Inspector, you are a very special man. Thank you, and take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the case of the disappearance of Mrs. Peignoir. Please join us again next time for another episode of the Inspector Quoissant series, brought to you by Pickerington Community Theatre. Join us, won't you, at PCTshows.com. Yes, friends, PCTshows.com. Good night.